Hello, soul friends. This is Mary, and welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is going to be all about a happy Halloween memory and how that memory has transcended into something great in your life today. Remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or just simply your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. No matter how you look at that, it is healthy and you are in the right place. So welcome if you are new, and welcome back if you've been here before. Yikes! Did I scare you? Scared myself. Okay. That could be some kind of a weird message for someone. Some of you might be clumsy, and that's an indication that you're in the right place. Some of you might have had a little, what do you want to call it? I just pictured somebody like in one of those like team building exercise type days at work, and like something embarrassing happened with the water cooler, or and, like they like handed out drinks to everybody, and then you just like knocked yours and everybody else is over, or something along those lines. Okay. Last one. Put these way too far away from me. You might hear my tea kettle boiling here. All right, to go along with our little nostalgic theme, for those of you who are old like me, these are little, this is group one, little buskets. Sorry, there's a movie I watched where the guy calls a bucket a busket, and that's just what I call them now. Little buckets from this place that I would never eat at now, but back when we were kids, we thought it was pretty cool. Starts with an M, kind of a fast food place, and they would put our little meals, kid meals, in these little buckets during Halloween. And I saw them and I just had to have them, because every time I see these images, it fills me with that happy little Halloween spirit. Let me get my earbuds in so you don't have to listen to that. Okay, hopefully that takes the edge off. All right, so go ahead and pause if you need, and we will see you in your individual readings all about a happy Halloween memory that's transcended into something great today, and we'll see you there. Bye-bye! Hello, group one. So if you picked the purple pumpkin fast food kid pail, let's go ahead and get into your reading. All about a happy Halloween memory and how that's transcended into something great today. We also have some advice for that part of your life, whatever that looks like in these cards. So there's going to be a lot of different images coming in. You might only get a couple, you might get a bunch. It's a general reading, so just take what resonates with you. So let's go ahead and get started on what those memories are for those of you. Okay, we have 4 of pumpkins. Okay, first off, 4 of pumpkins is about saving money in some cases, or being protected in other cases. So what I am seeing here is some of you have a fond memory of a Halloween season when you were young and you had saved a bunch of money, like allowance or money that you earned by doing, paper routes, or, okay, I'm aging myself here. What do kids do for work now? Do you guys still go do little chores for your neighbors? Did you do it 20 years ago? Because I'm thinking like 40 years ago, so, but yeah, earning money for something, winning money for something, and like putting that money to good use, and then feeling very responsible and adultish. The other memories I'm getting is a year where you drew a bunch of your own cards or decorations. You made your own costume, something that you did without spending money. So like I'm getting a frugalness for sure. Some of you have a memory of a wonderful big tree. All right, that tea kettle's about had it. Let's go get some tea. definitely seen like, figuring things out, saving money, feeling adultish, in your life and learning like key responsibility. I'm also seeing a giving nature with like the person who made the little cards probably like gave them to people or like sold them and people like would use them to give as gifts. So like some kind of a community involvement. Maybe there's some kind of a community competition where you made your own little cards or like a coloring competition or something. Once again, I'm aging myself. I doubt kids do coloring competitions anymore. I also just got a memory pop in of like 10, 15 years ago, somebody like took their kid to like one of those little like arts and crafts stores where you actually go in and you actually do a painting together and you all do the same painting. Like some of you did like a little spooky painting. Some of you had like a beautiful old tree that gave you a very nostalgic and Halloween feeling. Some of you had, I'm seeing those little paper things that you put on the little sticks when you're gardening so that you know what's what. I'm seeing somebody learning how to garden, and then this time of year was when you saw what your harvest was, and you got really excited about that. Okay, anything else coming through? And somebody really likes peas and vegetables. So maybe harvest time, you really, if you like helped with harvesting, like canning and all those things, like we used to shell peas when we were little for our grandma. And pick things and snap beans. And that smell of like vegetables, that always would give me like a really nostalgic feeling. Okay, let's see how that's transcended into who you are today. The sacredness of pausing, the winter card. So obviously with that frugal and this whole planning for the future kind of energy, you're very responsible people now. You save your money, you plan ahead, and then when the lean times come, you have cushion, and that gives you a lot of gratitude and feelings of sustainability and, what else am I trying to say? Like an independence, a feeling of pride is also coming in. And then for future endeavors or any future advice from your guides about this type of attitude and how that's going to transcend into your future, we have apples, number 4, to taste, one must swallow it whole, and beneath the satin flames hides drowning waters. Interesting. I get this feeling of like them saying that because you have that, I see she's gathering up her apples like to go keep for herself to make more with, right? Because if you just ate one apple a day out of that, you wouldn't get through them all before they went bad. But if you make some pies and all that fun, some sauce and whatever else, some juice, whatever else you want to do, then you have that ability to stretch your resources. So like your guides are definitely saying to keep up that energy, to keep following through with that, because it will always leave you with more abundance down the road than if you don't. All right, and with that, I shall leave you. If this was fun and you resonated with it, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box, my friends. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi, group 2. So if you picked this cute little green face, this one looks like a female to me, whereas the other ones look, this one looks like gender neutral, because I'm picturing like a ghost in a sheet, right? And then these ones look, gender neutral or more male because they don't have eyelashes, okay? So cute. We'll put her right over here. All right. So some of you might be female. It doesn't have to be. Some of you might be male and you have a female that you're very nostalgic about this time of year, this Halloween season. Okay, let's see what other memories come up for you guys. Ooh, some of you with this magician card, and you see these little infinity symbols, but they're like lined up together, kind of reminds me of like Celtic knotwork. Some of you got really into your pagan roots one Halloween season. You might have like watched a history of Halloween, or like a a documentary on, how did this holiday get started, right? And you realized that was your ancestry, or you just thought that was really cool the way they lived their lives, and you decided to look into it more, and then you started discovering magic and your own abilities. And that made the Halloween season even more, spooky and cool and magical, because you were becoming aware of all these things. Some of you became aware that you have magical abilities of some kind, whether that's like psychic abilities, mediumship abilities, claircognizance, clairaudience, any of those things. You started really developing your powers, as I call them. Okay, what else? If it wasn't a specific magic type thing, if that's not resonating with you, some of you became aware of your ability to bring change into the world during this certain time of year when you were younger. And it made you feel very powerful, very capable, maybe even made you feel a little bit manipulative, because you figured out how to get people to do what you want in certain ways, how to make them see what you want them to see, even if that's not what's going on. So like the ability to, and I'm not seeing anything nefarious, there are good ways to manipulate. And I know some people would be like, oh, that's a terrible thing to say, but ask anybody who used to teach or have to command any types of groups. There's a degree of crowd manipulation that you have to do. So yeah, that's what's coming through for these memories. I'm seeing like also with this card, just a love of kind of the macabre. You had like a happy Halloween one year where, people really got out the decorations, or you went to a super deluxe party or haunted house attraction and just really felt the magic that year. I'm seeing that some of you get very nostalgic feelings from black cats, that some of you love bats, ghosts, and little devils. Some of you like that creepy Victorian kind of, they were kind of like obsessed with death, and they had like the little skull decorations and the little, dark clothing, the ghosty things. Okay. Anything else coming through? Some of you saw a magician when you were young. And some of you are afraid of snakes. Some of you love snakes. It depends on who you are. Some of you, when you became enamored with that darker side, the more macabre, you started to embrace the scarier creatures that you were taught to be scared of, like bats and spiders and snakes. And now you see them more in beauty. Some of you, they give you the willies, but in a good way. It's like you like to look at them because they're kind of creepy. That kind of energy is coming through. Some of you saw like a really cool magician trick, or an illusionist of some sort around this time of year when you were young. And because of the veil being thin, and just that feeling that fall gives us all, you sort of latched onto that feeling, and you love that little mystical, nostalgic feeling that you get this time of year. So where has that brought you? Protection. So those of you who have learned that for those of you that have learned that you have magical abilities, you've learned how to protect yourselves in ways that you didn't know were possible before. It's giving you a great deal of comfort in your life. It's actually really strengthened your faith in like your creator and your own abilities to protect yourself and those you love. It made you feel like you weren't just sort of floating along on like your creator's, whatever whim your creator had, right? You have like a little more say, or a little more will, to free will to do what you want when you got into this new practice. For others, I'm seeing that, okay, this is very specific. Somebody's saying that a cat protected you in some way. That could be like some mystical way, or it could be like one of those, some real, some fake videos you see where a cat just like squares off with a much bigger animal to protect its loved ones. I love those videos because it shows people a different side of cats than what they might be imagining or stereotyping if they haven't been around them a lot. What else? Some of you put protective symbols on your pumpkins this time of year, like you carve like runes or something into them. Ooh, that'd be cool. That'd be easy too. Maybe I should do that sometime. Just kidding, allergic to pumpkins, but it would be cute. Okay. Protection. That, positive manipulation tactic. Like I feel like some of you, because you learned how people tick and your ability to change things, that you kind of have learned how to read rooms and you've protected yourself over the years, that you've gotten out of really bad situations because, you were able to say the right thing to that dangerous person or just slip out the back without anybody realizing that you were gone. I'm seeing that being a protective thing that you've acquired that you're able to do because of this ability that you have. What else? Some of you feel protected by somebody who, like I'm getting some dad vibes like from this card, which I didn't say before, so sorry about that. The people that were here about their dad bounced. I'm feeling some dad energy, like your dad could do anything and like they were just, super vibrant this time of year or something along those lines, or maybe they passed, or maybe their birthday was around this time of year, and so you think about them a little bit more and those nostalgic feelings come up, and that person feels like they protected you and that they still protect you. Even if they're past, you still feel their protection over you in the spirit world. Interesting. Okay, so let's see how this transcends into future. Ooh. Voices 42, with a tug at the gut. Fill them, romance your very breath. Listen to the gentle flickering within your eyes, for this is where they guide. Yeah, clairaudience was something that we said earlier. Some of you are really getting some very strong clairaudience powers, like hearing voices. Okay, now remember, if you're hearing voices and they're telling you to do bad things, you go to a doctor, etc., and so forth, right? Rule out anything that's, not about spirits, right? But this is more about like hearing things here, not just hearing like voices talking to you that you don't understand or that you don't know, but like you might be thinking about somebody. This is one of the ways clairaudience works, and people don't realize it sometimes, where you might be able to predict a future event because you hear somebody utter a sentence that occurs during that time. You hear their voice, not necessarily through your ears per se, but it's like you hear them through your head. That's also a sign of clairaudience. So that's definitely coming through for some of you. That's going to be sharpening for some of you that are into this type of thing. Some of you are just going to be feeling the presence of your guides more as you move forward with this energy, with this momentum. The older you get and the more you practice, you're going to get better and better at this sort of thing. That's coming through. And then for those of you that this isn't, about magic and it's just about you knowing that you can change things, it's like you can trust those inner voices that you have, those inner thoughts. And I feel like some of you have like more than one because you kind of attribute those thoughts and motivations to personalities. And so you might picture like an old coach or, what would they say to you? And then you kind of bring that forward now, right? So if you don't believe in this stuff, I'm not going to argue and be like, those are your guides anyway, right? And I'm just going to say that's your subconscious mind telling you in these ways, that in these voices that you trust and how to move forward. So some of you could be feeling a much heightened ability in that area. And with that, just trust it. Get checked out by a doc if it's, you're hearing voices in stereo audibly, right? Let's, rule out anything serious and then lean into what's been being given to you. And with that, I shall leave you. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. If you resonated, let me know how. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. We shall see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, group 3. So if you pick the little orange pumpkin pale, sit him right over here. I believe he was kind of leaning towards group 3, and that makes me feel like some of you have a nostalgic feeling about a past love as well. Just as confirmation that you're in the right place, you might have some messages in group 2. All right, so let's look and see what kind of memories we have here. We have, the Hermit, number 9, and we have a mad scientist. I feel like some of you dressed up as a mad scientist for Halloween, and you were like really into it. And I feel like some of you, wore that costume because you're kind of into science, all right? That you're like into knowledge and figuring stuff out, and that was your favorite subject in elementary school, etc. Some of you really liked frogs and cats. Some of you may have had a pet rodent like a rat or a mouse, or even a gerbil, guinea pig, any of those little rodents that you keep in cages, and they eat pellets, and then they poop pellets too. Some of you might really like skeletons. Some of you might really like, you might have really been into dissecting things when you were a kid, or at least you thought you were going to when you were younger. You couldn't wait to like open stuff up and see how it works. But in the biological sense, some of you have an affinity for bow ties. Either you like to see men wearing bow ties, or, an older man in your life wore a bow tie that you like. Some of you had a doctor who had a bow tie when you were like your pediatrician wore bow ties. Some of you wear bow ties yourself. Some of you like men to wear bow ties. Okay, what else? Some of you learned a lot about the brain during this time, and I think maybe you might have gotten interested in it because you went to one of those little Halloween parties where they tell you can feel brains. Do they still do these? I'm really, really aging myself, but I suppose somebody older could be watching. It's like where they take the kids and they set up the table and they like have like Jello and boiled eggs and I don't know, cold noodles or whatever, and you feel it and they're like, these are intestines and these are brains and these are eyeballs, and you go, ew, gross. Good times with that. I'm seeing some of that action for sure. And you got interested in the brain, and you got interested in medicine or scientific experiments, chemistry. There we go, Miriam. Use your words. Some of you got interested in the stars, the scientific area of stars. But yeah, like lots of very thirsty for knowledge, and like that time of year was just very exciting and eye-opening, and everybody else is creeped out by it, but you're like, no, this is my jam. Okay, let's see where that has led you. Community and web weaving. I feel like some of you have gone into medicine or scientific research of some kind, some type of science field. Some of you might teach science. Some of you might, and you might still dress like a mad scientist for your students or something like that. Some of you work with bugs. Your scientific research is like into insects or animals. Some of you see the correlation between what you learned back then, and the older you get, the more and more you see how like all life is interwoven from this type of scientific knowledge. And I mean, you're a scientific person watching a tarot card video, so it's like you also see like the magical side of science. And that's part of what the mad scientist is like too, right? They go above and beyond the rules of like the rules of logic or the rules of society to prove their, to prove that something happens, right? Like some of you might have loved the story Frankenstein, and maybe that was why you liked this little green pumpkin, but then you picked this one instead. That might be why those two were kind of staring at each other. And that group definitely had a lot of interest in magical things and how that weaves its way into our life. I just said weaves. Some of you really help out your community by teaching or by doing medicine. And you don't ever want to stop that. You want to keep on going. You keep building more and more. Like there's the beauty of like science and magic is that there's no end stop, right? Of, oh, I've got it all figured out. You just get to keep going and rediscovering and challenging and just, on and on we go. If you keep your mind open, of course. And then we have for your future witch 43, grab hold, allow the dwelling fire within belly, awaken all that is, a mere glimpse, a delicate pull at the very roots, living in the alchemy of self. Some of you are on your way to medicine and you're super stoked. You're going to do great things. You're poised and ready. You're making things happen. You're weaving that web, okay, creating that future for yourself. For others, it's just that beautiful figuring out new things. Like you might have recently figured out how to heal yourself in certain areas beyond the conventional norms and beyond what you were taught. You're kind of learning like, oh, there's more to this. I can do more with this knowledge than I could before because I'm growing and I'm learning. And some of you are really into prolonging life and prolonging quality of life, and you look at it in a holistic way. So we might have some Eastern medicine people or natural remedies. Those kinds of energies are also coming through. Your guides are saying that some of you are really taking off right now. So like you might not be exactly where you want to be yet. You might want to be in this little this little scientific realm. Some of you might be training to work in a lab, or some of you might be like interning in a lab and you're on your way to like doing that for your entire career. That's also coming through for futures for some of you. And some of you, it has to do with roots. It's connected to your family and your community. Some of you, the motivation is because of family and community. Some of you, it's because of your kids, maybe one of your kids has like something incurable and you have spent your life researching it to help others. Like even if it doesn't end up helping you guys in your lifetime, it might have a chance to help somebody else down the road that's important to you, and a noble cause that you do for your community. I've seen a lot of community service, just giving of self. And also like going above and beyond, not just doing your job, but community involvement as well. Like you put on little costumes for the kids in the community or however that works. That's also coming through for you. So just keep it up is the main advice. Your guides are saying it's just going to propel you forward further and further and bring you more and more satisfaction. And with that, I shall leave you. If this was resonating with you, go ahead and tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, group 4. So if you picked the little ghost, this is going to be your reading all about a happy memory that has transcended into something cool today, based around the holiday season. Some of you dressed as a little ghost for Halloween. Like when I was a kid, we always like got mad when our parents did the sheet with the holes cut in it costume. Because it was like the poor man's costume, right? We didn't get anything cool at Spirit of Halloween. Just kidding, we didn't even have those. We didn't even get something cool from the thrift store, like that was where we got our school clothes. Like our costume was just like whatever was around the house, right? So like some of you had that kind of an upbringing, like kind of very simple decorations, simple costumes. But now that you're older, and maybe even back then, you have this nostalgic for those simpler times. Some of you might even have come from like a smaller community where you you still, got homemade sweets from your neighbors because you knew everybody and could trust them, right? Whereas like nowadays you can't, it's got to be like a wrapped candy so that you know that they didn't do anything weird to it, right? Because it's just like you're not supposed to take treats from strangers kind of thing, right? This feels more like, let's make sure to hit up Mrs. So-and-so's house because she makes that apple crisp we all like, and she'll just like invite us in and like serve it up to us hot, and we'll like just sit around her table and look at her decorations, and it's going to be awesome. I'm seeing that coming through, so that might be confirmation for some. Let's look at some more memories. Oh my, well, we just got older. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I blush. Some of you, there was a Halloween season where like your little sweetheart like snuck into your bedroom window, you naughty kids. And that could have been like in college, that could have been whenever, right? But it was like such a fun time, and it was kind of dangerous and risky, both for the person sneaking in and for the person that they were sneaking in to see. And so whichever side that memory falls on for you, that danger and the time of year and the nighttime, and it was very exciting for you. Very good memory. And so whenever you feel that chill in the air and you see something spooky on TV or whatever, you get that like that, to be young and in love feeling for some of you. Some of you had like a little cat. Some of you had an awesome dog. Some of you got like your first love letter or something from somebody, and or your first confirmation that who you liked you back, and that was very exciting. You can still feel that like the butterflies in your tummy. Okay. Some of you, this is like your first memory of like doing something risky or being kind of naughty, right? And nothing crazy. This is all positive. But, just having that thrill of doing something like, I'm seeing like people going to their first party, kissing somebody for their first time, sneaking out, those types of risky behaviors, but nothing turned out bad. So it's like a good memory now. Some of you fell in love with like maybe your high school sweetheart or something, and maybe you're still with them today. And this time of year is a special time for you. What else? Some of you had a best friend that you would get into mischief with. Because lovers can also just be about that card can also just be about friends. You kind of tempted each other into doing things that pushing each other's envelopes into like more risky territory, more. I'm like grinning ear to ear right now. I'm just like those memories where you look back and you're like, oh, we could have been killed. Oh, it was great, we could have gone to jail that night, right? And not because you would have hurt anybody, but just because, you were out maybe past curfew, or you were out doing, and you felt just very dangerous and very daring, right? Okay, what else? Okay. Other things. Some of you got into candle magic, and that was a risky thing to get into because like you had to maybe hide it from your parents or your grandparents or something along those lines. Either because they were like, don't be playing with candles in your room and, being unsafe, good advice, or they could have been like, what is that witchcraft, and they were kind of upset about that. Some of you, your dog or your cat were like witnesses to like you being kind of rambunctious and ornery, and they never told on you, and you always like joke about how how loyal they were, they never told on you. Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and see how that's transcended into your life today. Okay, So for some of you, there is some regret. So there might have been some naughty things that, like I'm not feeling anything naughty from these types of experiences, but maybe, that little sneaking into the window ended up with a little bit of regret over pregnancy, or, like regret over, oh, I shouldn't have, that guy ended up being such a jerk, or that girl ended up breaking my heart, like I regret sneaking in the window that night, or I regret letting him in my window that night. I'm also feeling some regret just at like the past being over, and just wishing that you could go back, wishing you had kept that letter instead of burning it up after you broke up, because you were so young and upset at the time, but now you just wish you had it for memories. Those types of feelings are coming up. What else is there about this regret? I guess some like health ramifications maybe of being rambunctious. I know that because I was rambunctious when I was younger and I snuck out, I ended up with a busted back once because I, got in the wrong car. And so there might be some regret there. Like, it's not like the sole regret of my life, but if I had it to do over, I would have saved my back the pain, and the trauma of what that brought, right? Some of you liked that movie High Spirits. There's a lot of, or movies that there's a movie that you like, or a music video, or even an actual place that has that kind of little rounded sunroom with all those windows. It also reminds me of that show 6 Feet Under. They kind of had a little extra room like that where they'd sit in those windows every now and again and comfort each other. It's also kind of how that window reminds me of as well. Some of you regret not being more mischievous. Maybe this is like a nostalgic feeling you have of like, I feel daring, like I want to go TP a house, but I never did. I never TP'd houses, but I mean, like, we lived in areas where, like, a grumpier old man could come out and just, like, shotgun you, and it would have been your fault. Like, because you snuck onto their property. Don't go onto people's property without their permission. Stuff can happen, even today. But yeah, like, some regret that maybe you didn't let that person in, that you didn't answer that letter, that you still think back to them, and it might have even been the right decision. Like, as an adult, you're like, that was the right decision not to do that, not to TP anyone's house. But there's some regret that, like, you don't have the same cool memories that other kids had that invited you and you didn't go. That's also coming through. Regret that you didn't enjoy it as it was happening more is also something that I'm feeling. Okay, moving along. What to expect from this, or how can this like be helpful in the future, or just future advice from your guides. We have the underworld, number 40. Hand over your known, a shift is near, take a leap, your journey is clear. Okay, your guides are saying that there's actually opportunities coming up into your life that could provide such excitement, and as an adult you actually have an ability to be safer and wiser about how you kind of find thrills. Okay. And they're saying to go ahead and go for it. Go ahead and give in to your darker side. Go ahead and lose control a little bit. I feel like some of you are, those of you that feel that regret of not doing more, you are so controlled that I don't feel like you losing a little bit of control would actually cause any real damage, right? You always want to make sure you don't cause damage, but I feel like you're so hard on yourself that letting go a little bit is, taking a little bit of risk is a good thing. They're showing that regret that you feel about not taking initiative back then is a good way to, it's a feeling that you can use intuitively to be like, I need to move now instead of waiting like I did before. And it doesn't even have to be related to those types of things. It doesn't have to be mischievous. It could be a business deal. It could be, a lifelong decision of some kind that's super serious. It could be whatever, right? But it's something that they say will pay off for you because you've kind of got the green light to take risks. And this is kind of your lesson on how to not hold back when there are good things to be had if you just take a risk. That's also coming through. For those of you who have regret about actions, you can also do some forgiveness ritual. You can forgive yourself. You can forgive others. You can also reach out to people if you want in some cases and just say, hey, I never answered your little love letter back in 8th grade. And I know that you don't care now. It's been so long. But I just wanted to say that, that whole time that you might have been missing me, I was missing you too. I don't want you to think that I just coldly snubbed you and disappeared forever, right? Depending on how you feel, like generally with calls like that, it can get awkward. But if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. If, some of you might have this nostalgic, regretful feeling that you want to have pets again and you haven't had pets forever because you live in areas where you can't have them or whatever. And your guides are saying that it's a good time to go for it. Move somewhere where they allow them and get yourself a kitty cat or a doggy dog or a bird or a guinea pig or whatever it is, whatever blows your hair back. Some of you are turning 40, and that might be why some of that regret is coming in from like youthful times of like, why didn't I just do what I wanted, right? It would be over now and I would have like a memory of like more than just, holding back. So take those leaps of faith, take those risks. Your guides are giving you some green lights for your future endeavors. And with that, I shall let you go. Let me know how this resonated with you in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. Thanks for being here, guys. This was fun. We'll see you next time.